Hey guys, it's Adam. How you doing today? I want to talk a little bit about race strategy today. So you've been training for a marathon. You've done all the training. You've been following your program throughout. You're tapering down, and now it's time for the race. And you need to have a strategy for that race. So what is that strategy? How are you going to get from the starting line that day of your race to the finish line and be able to finish with your goal in mind? So let's talk about that a little bit. What a race strategy is, kind of what are the different parts of it, and how you go about building your race strategy and the different components that need to be in it. So first of all is pace. If this is your first marathon you're running, really your goal should just be to finish the race. Let's just get you to the finish line the first time. The next time out we can start worrying about getting faster or whatnot. But this first time, let's just worry about finishing. So really your pace should be close to what you have been running for your long runs. So it's kind of easy to figure out. If you've run a few marathons before or whatnot, maybe you have a goal pace that's faster than your long runs, which is very likely. I usually run my long runs about a half a minute to a minute per mile slower than what I intend to run on race day. So whatever your pace is, you need to figure out what that is and go about setting that up. Now the easy way to do that is just say, okay, I'm going to run, say, an 8-minute mile. So at mile 1 I need to be at 8 minutes, mile 2, 16, mile 3, 24, and so on. However, if you know the course pretty well, like for example, I'm running the Flying Pig Marathon here in a few weeks. It has a major hill at 5 miles, 5 to about 8 miles. It has a major hill. I know those 3 miles I will not be able to run my goal pace during those 3 miles. I know I'm gonna have to back off a little bit so that I can finish the race strong. So I'm gonna keep that in mind as I build my strategy. So the other thing I want to talk about with pace is a little concept called putting time in the bank. And basically what people refer to as putting time in the bank is that you run the first half of that marathon, the first 13 miles if it's a full, or the first 6.5 or so miles if it's a half marathon. You run that faster than what you want to run. You run that split faster than your goal pace, so that, say, when you get to the halfway point, you have, say, 5 minutes in the bank, and then you intend to use those 5 minutes up in the second half so that you can finish at your goal pace. I personally don't believe this is a very good idea whatsoever. I really do not recommend it at all. I believe in running actually what's called a negative split. Putting time in the bank would be called a positive split, and there's all kinds of research out there if you care to look it up, that almost every world record that's ever been broken and almost all the fast times that have been run in marathons have been done with a negative split. So that means that the second half of your race you run faster than the first half. There's a lot of reasons for that, which I'll get into here in a little bit. One of the reasons is that you need to conserve energy early on in that race, because a marathon is very taxing on you. You need to have energy conserved so that as you go through that race and towards the end of that race, you have something to draw on there. So like I said, I would definitely recommend looking at a negative split, where that first half you back off. The first 4 miles I would run at a slower pace than what you intend to run, and then you can pick up the pace from there. And then when you get to the halfway point, see how you feel. Really, for a full marathon, the halfway point is basically the 20-mile mark. That's what it's always been said. That's always been the case for me, is that the last 6.2 miles you're running out of gas, and it's really the halfway point for a marathon. So the next strategy you need to come up with is, what is your hydration strategy and what is your nutrition strategy. As far as hydration goes, what I typically do is, depending on the weather too, whether it's cooler or warmer or whatnot, I typically want to hydrate at a minimum every 45 minutes. Now that means, for me, hydrate is drinking a full glass of water. And what I'll usually do is I'll go through just the water stations. I'll kind of plan out where a water station is on the course, and that's where I'll hydrate at. I don't typically carry water with me when I run. So that's basically how I hydrate. Now I use water. I know a lot of people like the Gatorade or Powerade or whatnot. I just tend to stay away from that because I bring my own my fuel with me. So that brings me to the nutrition part. Basically, your body can store enough glycogen to last probably about 2 hours running at a marathon pace. So unless you intend to run like a world record pace here, you're probably going to need to refuel at some point during that race. Now what I would recommend here is that early on in the race, when your body is in less stress, that you're fueling at that point. The first 4 miles, I would fuel at that point. I would eat something with carbohydrates in it, or take whether it's gel shots or whether it's honey stingers or sports beans or whatever it is that you're going to take that's going to get carbohydrates in your body. I would do it at that point, and then I would do it another point in the first hour of your race, because your body is going to need that later on. And a marathon puts a lot of stress on your body. In the last part of that marathon, your body is under a lot of stress, and it may not be able to process that sugar and that carbohydrates that you're putting into your body. It may not be able to process it fast enough, and if it can't, you're going to bonk. You're going to run out of glycogen. You're not going to have any more energy to finish that race. So I would highly recommend that you fuel early and often. So then the last thing for the strategy really is just to have fun. Enjoy the day. Whether you're a competitive runner or you're just out there to have fun. Find someone to run with. Find a pace group that's meeting your group or meeting the same pace you're running. And just have fun and enjoy the experience of running a marathon. It's a huge accomplishment to finish a marathon. It's something you can be really proud of. So just have fun and enjoy the day. So basically that's all I got for you today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.